In the heart of an underwater city, nestled deep beneath the cerulean waves of a vast and uncharted ocean, stood the grandest aquarium ever conceived. It was not merely a structure but a living marvel, a sprawling dome encased in shimmering crystal that refracted light into cascading rainbows across its interior. The water within flowed with an otherworldly luminescence, as though the stars themselves had been captured and suspended in liquid form. This was no ordinary aquarium. It housed creatures from worlds beyond imagination, beings whose forms defied earthly logic, each more breathtaking than the last. At the center of this aquatic wonderland resided Princess Lyria, a being so ethereal she seemed to belong neither to land nor sea, yet perfectly at home in both. Her skin glowed softly like moonlight on still waters, shifting hues with every subtle movement. Delicate fins adorned her arms and back, trailing behind her like silk veils caught in a gentle current. Her eyes, large and luminous, held galaxies within their depths, swirling with colors humans could scarcely comprehend. She moved through the water with effortless grace, her presence commanding awe and reverence from all who beheld her. For 2 decades, Princess Lyria had lived in self-imposed isolation, choosing to dwell among her beloved marine companions rather than engage with others of her kind. Not since her coronation ceremony 20 years prior had she permitted any male creature, alien or otherwise, to approach her closely. This decision stemmed not from fear or disdain, but from a profound sense of duty and purpose. Having witnessed countless conflicts and power struggles among her people, she had vowed to dedicate herself solely to preserving the delicate balance of life within her realm. Every day, she tended to the needs of her aquatic charges, ensuring their well-being while maintaining the intricate ecosystem they shared. Her subjects respected her choice, understanding the weight of responsibility resting upon her slender shoulders. They marveled at how she communicated with even the smallest fish using melodic clicks and whistles, her voice weaving through the water like a symphony. Yet despite her serene exterior, those closest to her sensed a deep loneliness lurking beneath her composed demeanor. For 20 years, she had touched nothing but water and glass, her hands caressing only the smooth surfaces of her domain's boundaries. While her connection to the marine world remained unbroken, her link to sentient beings had grown increasingly tenuous with each passing year. The human guard arrived during the season when bioluminescent blooms painted the waters in pulsating patterns of electric blue and violet. Captain Elias Varn, distinguished by his service in interstellar peacekeeping missions, had been assigned to oversee security for the upcoming diplomatic summit between Earth representatives and the aquatic civilization. His reputation preceded him, a man known for his unwavering integrity and remarkable ability to connect with beings across species barriers. Standing precisely 6 feet 2 inches tall, his athletic frame carried the weight of years spent maintaining order in hostile environments, while his piercing gray eyes reflected both wisdom and compassion. Elias's initial encounters with Princess Lyria occurred through the thick observation windows of her sanctuary. Each morning, he would stand post at precisely 0600 hours, watching as she performed her daily rituals with the marine inhabitants. Their first true interaction happened quite unexpectedly during a maintenance check of the outer perimeter. A sudden pressure fluctuation caused a minor breach in one of the filtration systems, sending a cascade of bubbles spiraling through the princess's private chambers. Without hesitation, Elias activated his emergency diving suit and entered the restricted area, his military training overriding protocol as he assessed the situation. Through the distorted veil of rushing water, he caught sight of Lyria attempting to guide several endangered lumini away from the disturbance. Without conscious thought, he swam toward her, his movements precise and controlled despite the chaos surrounding them. As their eyes met through the swirling currents, something unprecedented occurred. She extended her hand toward him, her webbed fingers brushing against his gloved palm. In that moment of contact, an inexplicable surge passed between them, causing both to recoil instinctively. Yet neither retreated completely, instead maintaining an awkward yet undeniable connection through the water. Their subsequent interactions became increasingly complex as Elias discovered his presence somehow calmed the normally skittish princess. During routine patrols, he began speaking softly through the communication system, sharing stories of Earth's oceans and his childhood memories of swimming in coastal waters. To his astonishment, she responded with melodic vocalizations that resonated through the water, creating patterns of sound that seemed to echo his emotions back to him. Over weeks of careful observation, he learned to interpret her subtle body language, the way her fins would flare slightly when pleased, or how her luminescence dimmed when troubled. Protocol demanded strict professional distance, yet Elias found himself bending rules in small ways. He timed his rounds to coincide with her feeding schedules, bringing samples of rare aquatic plants from Earth that might interest her collection. When particularly aggressive predators threatened the sanctuary's equilibrium, he worked alongside her caretakers to develop non-invasive deterrents, earning her silent approval through barely perceptible nods. These moments of collaboration created an invisible thread connecting them, growing stronger with each shared experience. The turning point came during a violent storm that battered the underwater city. Powerful currents threatened to destabilize the entire structure, and Elias found himself once again breaching protocol by entering the inner sanctum without clearance. What he witnessed transformed his understanding of their connection forever. Lyria, positioned at the heart of the turmoil, was manipulating the water itself, her body glowing with an intensity that defied natural explanation. Instinctively, he reached out to steady her as she fought to maintain control, their physical contact amplifying whatever mysterious energy she commanded. Together, they weathered the crisis, emerging from the experience fundamentally changed. In the aftermath of the storm, an unspoken agreement formed between them. While maintaining outward appearances of professional detachment, they began meeting secretly in the deepest chambers of the aquarium. Here, surrounded by ancient coral formations and schools of iridescent fish, they explored their growing bond. Elias shed his formal military bearing, allowing himself to float freely alongside the princess, matching her fluid movements with increasing ease. Through trial and error, they developed a hybrid language combining human speech, aquatic clicks, and gestures, each new word bridging the gap between their worlds. These clandestine meetings revealed layers of complexity in Lyria's character that few had ever witnessed. She demonstrated a dry wit that manifested in playful splashes and mischievous rearrangements of decorative corals. Her curiosity about human culture proved insatiable, leading to hours-long exchanges about everything from classical music to quantum physics. In turn, Elias discovered aspects of himself he'd long suppressed, a sensitivity to environmental nuances, an appreciation for silence that spoke louder than words, and a capacity for emotional vulnerability he hadn't experienced since childhood. Their connection deepened further when Lyria began sharing fragments of her past, memories of her ascension to the throne, the burdens of leadership, and the loneliness that had driven her to isolate herself. Elias listened without judgment, offering understanding rather than solutions. In these moments, their roles reversed. He became the student learning about alien diplomacy and underwater governance, while she found solace in expressing thoughts and feelings long buried beneath royal responsibilities. The physical aspect of their relationship evolved gradually, marked by tentative touches that grew bolder with trust. They discovered that direct skin contact generated peculiar sensations, a tingling warmth that spread through their bodies, accompanied by vivid mental images and emotions. These experiences suggested some form of telepathic resonance unique to their interspecies connection. Rather than frightening them, these phenomena strengthened their bond, providing insights into each other's inner worlds that transcended conventional communication. As weeks turned into months, their secret meetings became the foundation of a partnership that defied categorization. Neither purely romantic nor strictly platonic, their relationship existed in a realm of its own creation. They became collaborators in maintaining the aquarium's delicate balance, innovators in developing new conservation techniques, and confidants in matters ranging from political strategy to personal philosophy. The 20-year barrier Lyria had maintained crumbled not through force or persuasion, but through the natural evolution of genuine connection. The transformation in Princess Lyria became evident to those who observed her carefully. Her previously rigid adherence to royal protocols softened, replaced by a more fluid approach to governance that incorporated elements of human diplomatic practices Elias had shared. During council meetings, she began proposing innovative solutions that blended traditional methods with modern concepts, demonstrating a newfound flexibility that astonished her advisors. The luminescent patterns adorning her skin, once static in their regal display, now pulsed with dynamic rhythms that seemed to reflect her emotional state, a departure from centuries of royal decorum. Among her aquatic subjects, changes manifested in subtle yet significant ways. The marine creatures, attuned to her moods through some ancient biological connection, exhibited increased vitality and cooperation. Schools of fish formed more complex patterns, while previously territorial species demonstrated unprecedented willingness to share space. Even the most reclusive denizens of the deep emerged from their hiding places, drawn by an atmosphere of harmony that permeated the entire ecosystem. Caretakers noted how Lyria's presence seemed to enhance water quality and nutrient distribution, suggesting her powers had somehow amplified through her connection with Elias. For Elias, the impact proved equally profound. His military precision gave way to a more intuitive understanding of security protocols, allowing him to anticipate threats before they materialized. Reports from his superiors praised his ability to defuse potentially volatile situations with minimal intervention, crediting his remarkable insight into alien psychology. Yet those closest to him recognized deeper changes. His once stoic expression now frequently broke into genuine smiles, and his posture relaxed from constant alertness to a more open stance. Fellow guards noted how his presence seemed to calm even the most agitated visitors, as if some of Lyria's soothing influence had transferred to him. Their combined effect on the aquarium's operations led to unprecedented breakthroughs in interspecies relations. Representatives from various aquatic civilizations, initially skeptical of human involvement, began seeking counsel from the unlikely pair. Joint projects flourished under their guidance, resulting in advancements in sustainable aquaculture and habitat preservation. The success of these initiatives sparked discussions about expanding similar collaborations throughout the underwater territories, marking a shift in diplomatic relations between surface and subaquatic communities. Perhaps most significantly, their relationship challenged fundamental assumptions about interspecies connections. Scientists studying their interactions documented phenomena that defied conventional understanding: synchronized bioelectric fields, shared neural patterns, and mutual physiological responses that suggested a level of integration previously thought impossible. These findings rippled through academic circles, prompting re-evaluation of established theories about consciousness and connection. The implications extended far beyond their personal story, hinting at potential for meaningful relationships across what were once considered insurmountable biological divides. Yet amidst these transformations, challenges mounted. Traditionalists within the royal court viewed Lyria's evolving behavior with growing concern, interpreting her changes as signs of weakness or inappropriate attachment. Rumors circulated about the nature of her relationship with the human guard, fueling speculation that threatened to undermine her authority. Meanwhile, certain factions within Earth's diplomatic corps questioned Elias's impartiality, citing his close association with the princess as a potential conflict of interest. The pressure from both sides created a precarious balancing act, requiring them to navigate increasingly complex political waters while maintaining their connection. Despite these mounting pressures, neither showed signs of retreating from their path. Instead, they drew strength from their partnership, finding in each other the courage to face opposition. Their shared experiences had forged a bond that transcended mere affection, becoming a testament to the possibility of genuine understanding between vastly different beings. As they continued to challenge conventions and push boundaries, their story served as both inspiration and cautionary tale, a reminder of the transformative power of connection and the inevitable resistance such transformation often faces. The culmination of their journey approached with the announcement of the annual convergence ceremony, a sacred event where representatives from all aquatic realms gathered to renew alliances and address pressing concerns. This year's gathering carried particular significance, as it marked the 20th anniversary of Lyria's ascension to the throne. Traditionally a solemn occasion focused on formal proceedings, the princess proposed an unprecedented modification: the inclusion of human representatives in key discussions about interspecies cooperation and environmental stewardship. The suggestion sent ripples through both aquatic and terrestrial diplomatic circles, sparking heated debates about protocol and precedent. Elias found himself at the center of a growing controversy as his role in the princess's recent policy shifts came under intense scrutiny. Security footage of their interactions, intended for internal review, had somehow leaked to various media outlets, fueling rampant speculation about the nature of their relationship. Some hailed their partnership as proof of successful interspecies diplomacy, while others condemned it as inappropriate fraternization that compromised both their positions. The pressure mounted as political factions aligned themselves either in support or opposition to their unconventional alliance, transforming what should have been a celebration of unity into a battleground of ideologies. Within the aquarium itself, tensions reached critical levels. Several senior members of Lyria's court submitted formal petitions questioning her fitness to rule, citing her unorthodox behavior and questionable associations. Marine biologists reported unusual stress patterns among the aquarium's inhabitants, suggesting that the political unrest was affecting the entire ecosystem. Even the water itself seemed to respond to the growing discord, with currents becoming erratic and temperature fluctuations occurring with increasing frequency. The very environment that had once thrived under their care now mirrored the turmoil surrounding them. Yet amidst this chaos, moments of profound connection continued to occur. During late-night sessions in the hidden chambers, they found solace in each other's presence, drawing strength from their shared vision of a more unified future. Their conversations took on greater urgency, filled with strategic planning and contingency discussions. Lyria revealed ancient royal protocols that might protect Elias from political fallout, while he shared insights about navigating human bureaucratic systems. Each revelation brought them closer to a decision that would alter the course of their lives and potentially reshape the relationship between their worlds. The approaching ceremony forced them to confront difficult choices about their future. Could they continue their partnership openly, risking everything they had built? Or must they retreat into separate spheres, preserving what remained of their achievements while sacrificing their personal connection? The weight of these decisions pressed heavily upon them, manifesting in sleepless nights and anxious silences. Yet even in their darkest moments, a spark of hope remained, the knowledge that their bond had already achieved what many thought impossible, creating bridges between worlds that would endure regardless of their individual fates. As preparations for the convergence ceremony intensified, an unexpected development threw their carefully laid plans into disarray. A delegation of high-ranking officials from a neighboring aquatic kingdom arrived unannounced, demanding immediate audience with Princess Lyria. Their arrival coincided with the discovery of mysterious energy fluctuations emanating from the deepest trenches of the ocean floor, phenomena that bore unsettling similarities to the resonance patterns generated during Lyria and Elias's physical contact. Scientific teams scrambled to investigate, while political analysts speculated about potential threats to the established order. Elias received classified intelligence suggesting that certain factions viewed their interspecies connection as more than just a diplomatic anomaly. They believed it represented a fundamental shift in power dynamics that could destabilize centuries-old hierarchies. Whispers of ancient prophecies began circulating, speaking of a time when land and sea would merge through a union of opposites. These revelations cast their relationship in a new and potentially dangerous light, transforming it from a personal matter into a geopolitical issue of monumental proportions. Military advisors urged precautionary measures, while diplomatic channels buzzed with urgent communications attempting to contain the growing crisis. Meanwhile, Lyria faced mounting pressure from within her own court. A faction of traditionalists had gained momentum, presenting evidence of historical precedents where similar interspecies connections had led to catastrophic consequences. They cited instances of ecological imbalance and cultural contamination, arguing that the princess's actions jeopardized not just her position but the very fabric of their society. Yet counterarguments emerged from unexpected quarters. Younger members of the royal family and progressive thinkers who saw in their relationship a chance to break free from restrictive traditions that had stifled innovation and growth. The situation reached a tipping point when a series of coordinated protests erupted both within the underwater city and on the surface world. Environmental activists, inspired by the visible improvements in the aquarium's ecosystem, rallied in support of continued collaboration between species. Simultaneously, conservative groups organized demonstrations demanding the separation of human and aquatic affairs. The resulting tension created a powder keg of conflicting interests, with Lyria and Elias caught at the epicenter of a brewing storm that threatened to upend centuries of established order. As the date of the convergence ceremony drew nearer, new information surfaced that complicated matters further. Archaeological teams exploring ancient ruins uncovered artifacts suggesting that similar interspecies partnerships had existed in the distant past, protected by elaborate safeguards that had since been forgotten. These discoveries raised questions about whether their current situation represented a rediscovery of lost knowledge or a genuinely unprecedented phenomenon. Specialists from both worlds convened in emergency sessions, attempting to decode the implications while political leaders struggled to maintain control over rapidly evolving circumstances. The convergence of these events created a perfect storm of uncertainty and opportunity. Each new revelation added layers of complexity to an already intricate situation, forcing Lyria and Elias to constantly adapt their strategies while maintaining their connection. Their private meetings became more frequent and intense, filled with urgent discussions about how to navigate the treacherous waters ahead. The weight of history pressed down upon them, while the promise of a new future beckoned tantalizingly just out of reach. As the convergence ceremony loomed closer, Lyria and Elias found themselves at a crossroads where every decision carried monumental consequences. The pressure from both their worlds intensified with each passing day, yet amidst the chaos, they discovered an unexpected ally in an unlikely figure. Elder Marison, the oldest and most revered historian of the aquatic realm. Known for her reclusive nature and vast knowledge of ancient texts, Marison had remained silent throughout the political turmoil, Until now. One evening, as Lyria retreated to her private chambers after another grueling council meeting, she was startled to find Marison waiting for her. The elder's presence alone was unusual. What shocked Lyria even more was the artifact Marison held in her hands, a crystalline orb that pulsed faintly with light, its surface etched with symbols neither human nor aquatic but something older, primal. Marison explained that this relic had been hidden away for millennia, safeguarded by a secret order dedicated to preserving knowledge of interspecies harmony. According to legend, it responded only to those who embodied unity between disparate worlds. When Lyria touched the orb, it flared brilliantly, illuminating the chamber with cascading colors that seemed alive. But when Elias entered moments later, drawn by some unspoken instinct, the orb's glow intensified further, creating patterns that danced like living constellations. Marison watched silently, her expression unreadable, before finally speaking, "This confirms what I suspected. Your bond is not merely unprecedented, it is prophesied." The revelation sent shockwaves through them both. For years, Lyria had dismissed such myths as fanciful tales meant to entertain rather than guide. Yet here was tangible proof, an artifact whose power resonated uniquely with their connection. Marison revealed fragments of an ancient prophecy. Two beings from separate realms would rise during a time of great division, their union bridging gaps thought insurmountable. Together, they would awaken forgotten truths capable of restoring balance, not just within the underwater kingdoms but across all life connected by water. But with this newfound understanding came fresh dangers. Marison warned that forces opposed to change would stop at nothing to prevent the prophecy's fulfillment. Already, whispers circulated among the court about the artifact's activation, fueling paranoia and fear. Some saw it as validation of their worst fears, that Lyria's relationship with Elias threatened the very foundation of their society. Others viewed it as divine intervention, a sign that tradition must evolve or perish. Either way, the stakes had risen exponentially. Elias, too, faced mounting challenges on his side. Human leadership, wary of losing control over diplomatic relations, began questioning whether his loyalty lay with Earth or the aquatic realm. Classified documents surfaced detailing contingency plans should the situation spiral out of control, including potential isolation measures designed to sever ties between humans and the underwater civilizations entirely. His superiors summoned him repeatedly, demanding explanations while subtly pressuring him to distance himself from Lyria. Yet despite these external pressures, their resolve only deepened. Guided by Marison, they delved into the artifact's mysteries, uncovering clues embedded within its glowing patterns. Each session brought new insights, revealing long-forgotten techniques for harmonizing energies between species. They learned to channel their shared resonance intentionally, using it not just to communicate but to influence the environment around them. Schools of fish swirled in perfect synchrony when they focused their combined energy, coral blooms erupted in vibrant hues, and even the turbulent currents outside the city walls calmed under their touch. These breakthroughs did not go unnoticed. Word spread quickly among the aquatic populace, igniting hope in many who had grown disillusioned with stagnant traditions. Citizens gathered near the palace, holding vigils beneath the shimmering dome, their songs echoing through the water in support of the princess and her human companion. On the surface, environmental activists rallied behind their cause, organizing global demonstrations advocating for interspecies cooperation. Social media buzzed with images of the glowing orb and stories of miraculous transformations witnessed within the aquarium. However, opposition grew equally fierce. Traditionalists within the court mobilized, forming alliances with skeptical factions on Earth to undermine their efforts. Rumors spread of impending legislation that would ban any form of physical contact between humans and aquatic beings, framing it as necessary for preserving cultural integrity. Security around the palace tightened, and both Lyria and Elias felt the weight of constant surveillance. Every movement, every interaction became scrutinized, dissected for signs of weakness or betrayal. Amidst this escalating tension, a personal crisis struck. During one of their late-night sessions with the orb, Elias collapsed suddenly, overwhelmed by the intensity of their shared energy. His body convulsed as alien sensations coursed through him, threatening to overwhelm his human physiology. Lyria acted instinctively, enveloping him in a protective embrace that merged their auras completely. In that moment, she experienced his vulnerability firsthand, the fragility of his mortal frame, the limitations imposed by his biology. It terrified her, not because she doubted their connection, but because she realized how easily he could be harmed by forces beyond their control. 4 days afterward, Elias struggled to recover, his body adapting painfully to the heightened resonance they had unlocked. Medical teams monitored him closely, unsure if his condition represented progress or peril. Lyria refused to leave his side, defying protocol to remain in the medical bay designated for human visitors. Their separation during this period felt unbearable, highlighting the stark differences between their natures even as their bond grew stronger. It was during this fragile recovery phase that a shocking discovery emerged. While analyzing data collected during their experiments with the orb, scientists identified a peculiar phenomenon. The resonance patterns generated by their connection bore striking similarities to the mysterious energy fluctuations detected near the ocean floor. These readings suggested that their bond wasn't merely symbolic, it was actively influencing geological processes deep beneath the waves. Tectonic plates shifted ever so slightly in response to their synchronized energy, hinting at powers far greater than either had imagined. This revelation forced them to confront an unsettling truth. Their actions carried implications far beyond politics or diplomacy. If left unchecked, their growing abilities might destabilize entire ecosystems, triggering chain reactions that could devastate both underwater and terrestrial environments. The responsibility weighed heavily on them, adding another layer of complexity to their already precarious position. As preparations for the convergence ceremony reached fever pitch, Lyria and Elias made a bold decision. Rather than retreat from public view or attempt to hide their connection, they chose transparency. With Marison's guidance, they crafted a presentation combining scientific evidence, historical context, and personal testimony to explain their journey thus far. They invited representatives from all factions, supporters and detractors alike, to witness firsthand the transformative potential of their partnership. The night before the ceremony, they stood together in the heart of the aquarium, surrounded by creatures who had become part of their extended family. Above them, the dome reflected starlight filtered through miles of water, casting ethereal patterns across their faces. For a brief moment, they allowed themselves to imagine a future where barriers dissolved, where beings of all kinds coexisted in harmony. Then reality intruded, the sound of distant protests, the hum of security drones, the weight of countless eyes watching their every move. Hand in hand, they prepared to face whatever awaited them, knowing that no matter the outcome, their bond had already changed everything. The path ahead remained uncertain, fraught with risks and sacrifices yet unknown. But as they gazed into each other's eyes, they found strength in the knowledge that together, they had awakened possibilities once thought impossible. As the convergence ceremony began, Lyria and Elias stood side by side beneath the glowing dome, their hands intertwined as the artifact pulsed in harmony with their shared energy. The crowd, both aquatic and human, watched in silence, captivated by the luminous aura surrounding them. When they spoke, their voices merged into a single resonance that transcended language, conveying unity and hope to all who listened. Opposition melted away for a fleeting moment as even the staunchest critics felt the undeniable truth of their connection. Yet, just as the ceremony reached its crescendo, the ground trembled, a tectonic shift triggered by their amplified resonance. Panic rippled through the assembly, but Lyria and Elias remained steadfast, channeling their combined strength to stabilize the chaos. In that instant, they realized their bond was not just a symbol of unity but a force capable of reshaping worlds. As the trembling subsided, an eerie calm settled over the gathering, broken only by the soft hum of the artifact still glowing between them. Together, they turned to face the uncertain future, knowing their journey had only just begun. The final decision rested not in the hands of kings or councils but within the hearts of those willing to embrace change. And so, under the shimmering waters, two souls from separate realms chose to step forward, together, into uncharted depths.